The sun gleamed against the towering glass structure of the Pinnacle Hotel, its sleek, modern design standing proudly among the historic buildings that surrounded it. Maya Holloway, a Black woman in her late 30s, stepped out of the luxurious limousine. Her tailored suit was as impeccable as her business acumen, and her presence commanded respect. Over the years, Maya had built her career from the ground up, transforming her small real estate startup into a billion-dollar company. Today, she was supposed to revel in the fruits of her labor, yet as her heels clicked against the pavement in front of the hotel, a familiar weight settled on her chest. Her assistant, Alicia Carter, followed closely behind, carrying the luggage. Alicia, a sharp-minded woman with impeccable attention to detail, had confirmed the hotel reservation weeks ago. Even so, Maya couldn't shake the unease bubbling within her. The Pinnacle was renowned for catering to the global elite, and Maya undoubtedly belonged among them. But the nagging question lingered. Would they see her success, or only her skin color? Everything in order? Maya asked, glancing at Alicia as they approached the entrance. Everything's perfectly arranged, Alicia replied with a confident smile. I triple-checked the reservation. You're their VIP guest for the week. Maya smiled back, grateful for Alicia's efficiency. She wasn't just an assistant, she was family. They had been through everything together, from the days when they couldn't afford an office to now, where Maya helmed a vast real estate empire. Yet, Maya had learned to brace herself for resistance in spaces that didn't often welcome people like her. Entering the grand lobby, the opulence was undeniable. High ceilings, glittering chandeliers, and soft classical music, a testament to old-world luxury. But the stares that followed Maya's every step felt anything but welcoming. Good afternoon, the receptionist greeted them, her tone polite but frosty. Her eyes scanned Maya's face, a flicker of discomfort crossing her features. How may I assist you? We have a reservation under Holloway, Maya Holloway, Alicia declared, stepping forward with confidence. The receptionist hesitated, her fingers moving over the keyboard with deliberate slowness. One moment, please, she murmured, her gaze flicking toward Maya occasionally. After a few moments, her brow furrowed and her posture stiffened. I don't see a reservation under that name. Maya felt her stomach sink but maintained a composed expression. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. The confusion, the delay, the sudden unavailability. She had faced these veiled prejudices all her life, but was no longer the girl who shrank under their weight. I personally confirmed the reservation, Alicia said firmly, her tone professional but edged with irritation. Please check again. The receptionist shifted uncomfortably before picking up the phone, her voice dropping to a whisper as she called her manager. Moments later, a tall man with silver hair and a perfectly tailored suit approached. His expression was measured, cordial but reserved. Good afternoon, I'm Robert Finch, the hotel manager. I understand there's an issue with your reservation. Maya met his gaze steadily, sensing what was coming before he even spoke. The tension in his posture, the hesitation in his smile, it was all too familiar. There seems to have been a misunderstanding, he continued with an air of forced politeness. Unfortunately, we're unable to accommodate you today. Our suites are fully booked. Alicia's eyes widened in disbelief. That's impossible. We confirmed this weeks ago. Maya raised a hand, silencing her assistant. She didn't need to hear the excuses. She had been in this position too many times. The issue wasn't overbooking, but who she was and how she looked. Maya's lips curved into a polite smile, though her eyes remained icy. I understand, she said calmly, her voice firm. Thank you for your time, Mr. Finch. I'll make other arrangements. Finch appeared surprised by her composed response, likely expecting an argument. Instead, Maya turned on her heel and left the hotel with her head held high. Alicia hurried after her, her face flushed with anger. This is outrageous, Maya. You can't just let them get away with this. We should go to the press or call a lawyer, Alicia exclaimed. Maya paused, taking a deep breath before turning to her assistant. I've been fighting this battle my entire life. Do you think this is the first time I've been denied something because of my skin color? Alicia's anger softened into sadness. But you shouldn't have to keep fighting like this. You're Maya Holloway. You've earned everything. Maya felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. I know, and that's exactly why I can't fight them on their terms. They want me to react, to make a scene, but I won't give them the satisfaction. Alicia nodded, though her frustration was still evident. So what do we do now? Maya's eyes glinted with determination. Now we regroup, find another hotel for tonight, and then I have other plans for the Pinnacle. That evening, Maya stayed at a different hotel, far less grand but equally welcoming. The sting of the Pinnacle's rejection lingered, but as she gazed at the city skyline, a plan began to take shape. She had spent her life breaking barriers, proving she belonged in spaces others tried to keep her out of. This would be no different. The Pinnacle might have refused to host her, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. Maya Holloway didn't quit. She didn't settle for second best. If they wouldn't accept her as a guest, she would return as something entirely different. A smile tugged at Maya's lips, the spark of a new idea lighting her mind. Let's see how they feel when I'm the one signing their paychecks. The sun peeked through the curtains of Maya's modest hotel room the next morning, casting a soft glow over her. She rose early, her mind buzzing with the possibilities of what lay ahead. The rejection at the Pinnacle still stung, but rather than wallowing in the insult, she let it fuel her determination. Sitting at the small desk in her suite, a cup of coffee in hand, she stared at the spreadsheet on her laptop. It displayed the assets and ownership structure of the Pinnacle. Maya was no stranger to the world of corporate acquisitions, and this would be no different. The Pinnacle, a historic hotel owned by a private investment group, prided itself on catering to the global elite. But behind its prestigious facade were cracks in its foundation. Over the years, the hotel had struggled financially despite its high-profile reputation. Maya had already been quietly researching luxury properties for her real estate portfolio, and the Pinnacle had been on her radar long before the incident. What began as an investment opportunity had now become deeply personal. Alicia entered the room, her expression still tense from the previous day's events. "You're up early," she said, eyeing the documents scattered across the desk. "Are you really going through with this?" Maya didn't look up from her screen as she replied, "I am. The Pinnacle needs new leadership, and I'm going to give it to them." Alicia crossed her arms, a smirk tugging at her lips. "So you're just going to swoop in and buy the hotel out from under them, huh?" "Not exactly," Maya said, finally meeting her assistant's gaze. "It's a bit more complicated than that. The Pinnacle is owned by an investment group, but they've been struggling to maintain profitability for a while. I've been studying their finances. They've had to cut corners to keep up appearances. They might seem like they're thriving, but their foundation is crumbling. So, you're going to buy them out while they're vulnerable," Alicia concluded. "Exactly. I already have the resources I need. Now, I just need a strategy." Alicia leaned against the desk, her frustration from the day before fading into admiration. "You always have a plan, don't you?" Maya smiled. "I didn't get here by accident." Alicia chuckled softly, shaking her head in disbelief. "I don't know how you do it. After what happened yesterday, I'd have wanted to burn that place to the ground. That's why I'm me," Maya said softly but firmly. "And that's why I've never let these things break me. I learned a long time ago that blowing up doesn't change anything, but buying the same hotel that rejected me changes everything." Alicia sat down across from Maya, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "So, what's the next step?" Maya's fingers danced over the keyboard, pulling up a list of the Pinnacle's current stakeholders. The investment group that owns the Pinnacle has several partners. Most are silent investors, but a few have direct control over decision-making. I'm going to make them an offer they can't refuse. Alicia raised an eyebrow. "And if they don't take the offer?" "They will," Maya said confidently. "The Pinnacle's finances are more precarious than they appear. A few bad quarters, and they'll have no choice but to sell. But I don't plan to wait that long. I'll offer a generous price, more than they'd get from anyone else, and when they see how much I'm willing to pay, they'll take the deal." Alicia nodded slowly, absorbing the magnitude of what Maya was about to do. "This is huge," Alicia said. "It is, but it's also necessary. The Pinnacle represents everything I've fought against my entire life. exclusion, prejudice, elitism. I've worked too hard to be shut out of places like that. There was a long pause as Alicia absorbed Maya's words. Do you think they'll realize who you are? That you're the same woman they turned away? Maya leaned back in her chair, her eyes narrowing slightly. Oh, they'll know. But by then, it'll be too late. The following weeks were a whirlwind of negotiations, meetings, and discreet inquiries. Maya moved carefully, ensuring her interest in the Pinnacle remained under the radar. She enlisted the help of trusted advisors and leveraged her extensive network to approach the hotel's investors through intermediaries. It didn't take long for whispers to spread among the Pinnacle's board members. There was a potential buyer, someone with deep pockets and a vision for the hotel's future. What they didn't know was that it was Maya Holloway, and she intended to keep it that way until the deal was sealed. Behind the scenes, Maya's legal team worked tirelessly to draft acquisition contracts. She meticulously reviewed every detail, ensuring that once she owned the Pinnacle, she would have complete control over its operations. No more hidden discrimination, no more exclusive standards designed to exclude people like her. Meanwhile, Alicia managed the day-to-day operations of Maya's real estate empire, keeping everything running smoothly while Maya focused on the takeover. But each night, Alicia updated Maya on the company's progress and listened as Maya outlined the Pinnacle's future. Maya, Alicia said one evening during dinner in Maya's temporary office, the investors are nervous. They're not as confident as they were a few months ago. They shouldn't be, Maya replied with a faint smile. Well, Alicia added, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction, that manager is going to lose it when he finds out who the new owner is. Maya smiled, though her expression remained calm. They'll know soon enough. 2 weeks later, the final meeting took place. Maya sat at a long mahogany table in a private conference room, flanked by her legal team. Across from her were the Pinnacle's investors, their faces tense with anticipation. None of them recognized her. They only knew her by reputation. She had been careful to keep her identity concealed throughout the process, allowing her representatives to handle preliminary discussions. Now, as the final contracts were laid out, Maya felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had played the game, maneuvered through the negotiations with precision, and now it was time for the final move. One of the lead investors, a man named Simon Kane, cleared his throat as he glanced over the contract. Miss Holloway, I must say, your offer is unexpectedly generous. At first, we weren't sure what to make of it, but after reviewing everything, we believe we're ready to proceed. Maya nodded, her expression neutral. I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Kane. I've always believed in making deals that benefit both parties. He gave a tight smile, still uncertain. However, I must ask, why the Pinnacle? A hotel like this is, well, it's prestigious, but we've had other buyers interested in the past who never offered anything like this. Maya folded her hands neatly on the table, her gaze steady. Let's just say the Pinnacle holds personal significance for me. The investors exchanged puzzled glances, but didn't press further. They had no idea about the encounter Maya had at their hotel weeks earlier. They didn't know she was the same woman they had turned away at the front desk, who had walked out of their lobby with her head held high after being told she didn't meet their standards. As the contracts were signed, Maya stood, extending her hand to Mr. Kane. Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to leading the Pinnacle into its next chapter. He shook her hand, still unaware of the full significance of her words. But Maya didn't need him to understand. She had already won. That night, as Maya sat in her new office at the Pinnacle, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. She had spent years breaking glass ceilings, exceeding expectations, and redefining what success looked like for a Black woman in America. This was just another victory in a long line of them, but it felt different. This one was personal. The next morning, Maya stood in front of the Pinnacle once again, but this time, everything was different. She wasn't there as an unwelcome guest. She was there as the rightful owner. The towering hotel loomed over her, its polished facade reflecting the morning sun. It had been less than a month since she had walked away from this very spot, rejected by its so-called standards. Now, the balance of power had shifted entirely. Alicia stood beside her. A broad smile spread across her face. "Ready?" Alicia asked. Maya nodded, her own smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Let's get to work. Are you ready for this?" Maya took a deep breath, adjusting her tailored blazer. "I've never been more ready." They stepped through the entrance, and this time there was no hesitation. The receptionist from her previous visit, the one who had stammered through denying Maya's reservation, was again behind the desk. As Maya and Alicia entered, the receptionist's face went pale. There was a moment of silence as the young woman processed what she was seeing, but she quickly recomposed herself, offering a nervous smile. "Good morning. Welcome to the Pinnacle. How may I assist you today?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Maya approached the desk with calm confidence, meeting the woman's eyes with quiet intensity. "I'm not here for a reservation today," she said softly. "I'm here as the new owner." The receptionist's face drained of color completely. Her mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. She stammered, searching for a response, her hand shaking as she tried to regain composure. I wasn't aware," she mumbled, glancing around as if hoping someone would intervene. Maya didn't flinch. "I'm sure the rest of the staff will need to be informed. I suggest you start preparing." Before the receptionist could respond, Maya turned and walked toward the elevators, Alicia by her side. As they waited for the elevator, Alicia couldn't suppress a laugh. "Did you see her face? I think she's going to need a new job after today." Maya smirked but remained focused. "She's just one piece of the puzzle. The real work starts now." The elevator doors opened and they stepped in. Maya pressed the button for the top floor, where her new office awaited. As the elevator ascended, her mind raced through the changes she planned to implement at the Pinnacle. This was more than a business acquisition. It was an opportunity to turn a symbol of exclusion into one of inclusion, to redefine luxury and who had access to it. At the top floor, the doors slid open to reveal a spacious hallway adorned with glass walls and minimalist decor. At the end of the corridor was the corner office, now hers. Maya walked toward it with purpose, Alicia close behind. Inside, the view was breathtaking, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. The room itself was sleek and understated, with modern furniture and tasteful artwork on the walls. It was a space designed for someone powerful, and now it belonged to her. Maya stood by the window, gazing out at the city. She had built her empire here. This was more than a personal victory. It was a statement to anyone who had ever doubted her or tried to push her out of spaces where she rightfully belonged. Alicia stepped beside her, her voice soft but filled with pride.
"You did it, Maya."
"You really did it." Maya's lips curved into a smile, but there was no sense of finality in her expression. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. "Now it's time to make some real changes." In the weeks that followed, Maya wasted no time putting her plan into action. Her first step was a comprehensive review of the Pinnacle's staff, policies, and guest services. She began by meeting with the hotel's management team, the same individuals who had implemented the discriminatory practices she had experienced. One by one, they filed into the conference room, their expressions ranging from confusion to concern. Among them was Robert Finch, the silver-haired manager who had personally denied Maya's reservation weeks prior. He sat at the head of the table, still unaware that the woman he had rejected was now his boss. Maya entered the room with a quiet air of authority. She didn't need to raise her voice or demand attention. Her presence commanded it. Taking a seat at the head of the table opposite Finch, she scanned the faces of the gathered staff. Nervous glances were exchanged, and whispers filled the room, but no one dared speak until she did. "Good morning," Maya began, her tone calm but firm. "As some of you may know, the Pinnacle is now under new ownership. I'm Maya Holloway, and I will be overseeing all future operations of this hotel." A murmur of acknowledgement spread through the room, but Finch's eyes remained fixed on Maya, a flicker of recognition sparking in his gaze. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, the realization slowly dawning on him. "I've reviewed the current policies and practices here," Maya continued, "and there will be significant changes moving forward. The Pinnacle is a place of luxury, but it will no longer be a place that discriminates against guests or staff based on race, gender, or background." Finch's mouth opened slightly as if to protest, but He quickly closed it when Maya's eyes met his. She allowed the silence to stretch for a moment, letting her words sink in. I expect every member of this team to uphold values of inclusivity and respect, she said steadily. We will retrain the staff, implement new policies, and ensure this hotel becomes a welcoming place for all guests, no exceptions. The room fell silent except for the soft shuffle of papers as some staff members exchanged nervous glances. Finch cleared his throat, finally summoning the courage to speak. Miss Holloway, with all due respect, the Pinnacle has always prided itself on maintaining a certain level of exclusivity for our clientele. Maya raised a hand to stop him, her expression unyielding. Exclusivity is not the same as discrimination, Mr. Finch. If you're concerned that the Pinnacle's reputation will suffer because we're welcoming a more diverse clientele, then you're welcome to seek employment elsewhere. Finch's face turned red, but he said nothing more. The rest of the management team remained stunned into silence, unsure how to respond to this shift in leadership. For years, they had catered to a narrow idea of luxury, one that excluded anyone who didn't fit their preconceived notions of who belonged in their hotel. Now that was changing, and Maya made it clear. Resistance would not be tolerated. In the following weeks, Maya's influence spread through every corner of the Pinnacle. She hired diversity and inclusion experts to retrain the staff, ensuring every guest received the same level of respect and courtesy regardless of their background. She also made a point of hiring more people of color in leadership roles, breaking the unspoken rule that only certain types of people could run a luxury hotel. News of the changes at the Pinnacle began to spread. At first, there was skepticism. Some longtime patrons worried the hotel's reputation would suffer under the new direction. But as Maya's vision took shape, it became clear that the Pinnacle wasn't losing its prestige. It was gaining something far more valuable. Guests of all races and backgrounds began filling the lobby, enjoying the same luxurious experience that had once been reserved for a select few. One afternoon, Alicia walked into Maya's office with a broad smile on her face. "You're not going to believe this," she said, holding out her phone. Maya raised an eyebrow and took the phone, glancing at the screen. It was a news article with a bold, triumphant headline. Billionaire Maya Holloway transforms historic hotel into a beacon of inclusivity. The new era of the Pinnacle. Maya smiled as she read the article, which detailed her acquisition of the hotel and the profound changes she had implemented. It praised her for turning the Pinnacle into a place that embraced diversity while maintaining its status as one of the city's most luxurious hotels. She handed the phone back to Alicia. "It's good to see the press catching on," Maya said lightly. Alicia laughed. "You did it, Maya. You've turned this place around." Maya stood and walked to the window once more, gazing out at the city she loved. "We did," she corrected. "And this is just the beginning." With the Pinnacle under her leadership, Maya knew this victory was more than personal. It was a step toward a future where no one would have to fight for a place at the table. She was determined to keep going, one victory at a time, building bridges instead of walls. As Maya prepared to deliver her speech at the front of the room, she scanned the crowd. There was a palpable sense of excitement and curiosity in the air. People were eager to see what the future held for the Pinnacle under her leadership. "Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. This is a special moment for me and for the Pinnacle. As many of you know, this hotel has a long and rich history. For years, it stood as a symbol of exclusivity and privilege, accessible only to a select few. But tonight marks the beginning of a new chapter." The room fell silent as Maya's voice resonated through the space. "When I took over the Pinnacle, I knew I wasn't just buying a hotel. I was inheriting a legacy, one that I knew needed to change. It wasn't enough for me to succeed in a space that had excluded people like me for so long. I wanted to transform it into a place where anyone, regardless of their background, could experience the same level of luxury and respect." There were nods of agreement throughout the room as Maya continued. "Change doesn't happen overnight. It requires dedication, vision, and most importantly, action. That's why tonight, I'm proud to announce the launch of the Pinnacle Community Inclusion Initiative. Through this program, We will partner with local organizations to provide training, internships, and career opportunities for underrepresented individuals in the hospitality industry. We're not just opening our doors, we're building bridges. The audience erupted into applause, and Maya smiled, feeling the energy in the room shift. She had always believed that true change came from empowering others, and tonight, she was putting that belief into action. Our goal is to ensure that the Pinnacle is not just a place of luxury, but a place of opportunity, a place where anyone, no matter where they come from, can build a career, a future, and a life. This is just the beginning of what we are going to accomplish. As the applause grew louder, Maya felt a surge of pride. This was exactly what she had envisioned when she took over the Pinnacle, a place where people are uplifted, not marginalized. After the symposium, Maya walked through the ballroom, receiving congratulations from guests and speakers alike. Alicia found her near the entrance, a proud smile on her face. "That was incredible, Maya," Alicia said. "You've officially turned this place around." Maya smiled, though there was a thoughtful expression in her eyes. "We've made a lot of progress, but the work isn't done. There's still so much more to do." Alicia laughed. "Of course there is, but take a moment to celebrate this victory." "All right," Maya nodded, allowing herself a brief moment of satisfaction. The Pinnacle had once represented everything she had fought against: discrimination, exclusion, and prejudice. Now, under her leadership, it was becoming a beacon of hope, a place where anyone could walk through the doors knowing they belonged. But Maya knew the fight for change would never be over. There would always be new challenges, new obstacles to overcome, and she was ready to face them. For Maya Holloway, every step forward was a victory, and she was just getting started. Months had passed since the Pinnacle Legacy Symposium, and Maya Holloway's transformation of the hotel had grown into something far greater than she had anticipated. The hotel was no longer just a luxury destination. It had become a symbol of progress, a place where inclusivity, opportunity, and equality were as central to its identity as its five-star service. Guests from around the world visited, not only for its opulence, but also for what it represented: the breaking of the chains that had once tied it to a discriminatory past. Yet, even as the Pinnacle's success solidified, Maya knew she couldn't rest. There was something more, a deeper mission that had taken root in her heart, ensuring that what she had built would endure beyond her leadership and expand far beyond the walls of this one hotel. She was determined to build a legacy that couldn't be undone by a change in ownership or the shifting tides of society. Sitting in her office one afternoon, the late-day sun casting long shadows across the polished floors, Maya sifted through the papers spread across her desk: plans for new projects, letters from community leaders, and proposals for future expansions of the Pinnacle brand. But it wasn't financial success or growth that weighed on her mind. It was the people, the lives she had touched, the doors she had opened, and the future generations who would benefit from the pathways she was creating. A soft knock at her office door broke her train of thought, and Devin entered with a look of excitement and nervous energy. Since the symposium, he had risen quickly through the ranks, proving himself not only a capable manager, but also a visionary leader in his own right. "I've been thinking about everything we've accomplished here, the changes we've made, the opportunities we've given to people who never would have had a chance in a place like this before. It's been amazing, but I can't help feeling that, well, we could do more." Maya leaned forward, intrigued. "I agree. What are you thinking?" Devin's eyes lit up, and his nervousness seemed to melt away. "I've been thinking about expanding what we're doing here, not just at the Pinnacle, but across the entire hospitality industry. There are other luxury hotels, resorts, even boutique properties still clinging to the same old practices, places that cater to the elite and exclude people who don't fit their idea of what a guest should be." Maya nodded, already seeing where he was going. "You're thinking of creating a network, a collection of properties operating under the same values we've established here." "Exactly," Devin said, his excitement growing. "We could take what we've done here and replicate it across the country, maybe even internationally. We could create a new standard for luxury hospitality, one that doesn't just include diversity as a box to check, but makes it the core of the experience." I'm talking about everything from the staff we hire to the guests we welcome, to the local communities we partner with, Devin added. We're creating a place where diversity isn't just welcomed, it's celebrated. A place where everyone feels valued and respected. Maya smiled, feeling a swell of pride in her chest. You've got it, Devin. I've seen your potential from the beginning, and now here you are, not just fulfilling it but pushing it further. You're thinking big, Maya said, finally locking eyes with Devin. I like that. But this kind of expansion isn't easy. We'll be up against decades, even centuries, of entrenched traditions and mindsets. I know, Devin admitted, but with determination. If anyone can do it, it's you. We've already proven that change is possible. We've proven it together. Maya leaned back in her chair, allowing herself a moment to consider the possibilities. We can't stop here. If we're going to make real, lasting change, we have to take this further. I agree, Devin said. We start by building a team. We'll need experts in hospitality, community engagement, finance, and legal. People who are just as passionate about this mission as we are. Maya nodded. I already have a few people in mind, but we'll need to identify and attract the best. And once we have the right people, we'll start identifying properties that align with our vision, hotels that are struggling, underperforming, or simply stuck in the past. Devin made mental notes as Maya outlined the plan. We're going to make this happen, Maya concluded, her voice filled with determination. We're going to create a global movement that redefines what luxury means. The Pinnacle Legacy Symposium had been a resounding success, with panel discussions ranging from the history of segregation in hotels to the importance of diversity in leadership roles. Guests shared personal stories, reflecting on the impact of exclusion and how it had shaped their lives. Devin spoke at one of the panels, sharing his journey from growing up in a low-income neighborhood to working at the Pinnacle under Maya's leadership. I never thought I'd have an opportunity like this, Devin said during his panel discussion. People like me usually don't get the chance to work in places like the Pinnacle. But Maya saw something in me that no one else did. She gave me a chance, and now I'm here because someone believed in me. The audience responded with a standing ovation, and Maya smiled, feeling a surge of pride. This was exactly what she had envisioned when she took control of the Pinnacle, a place where people are elevated, not relegated. As Maya and Devin began to lay the groundwork for their expansion, they encountered both challenges and opportunities. Some luxury properties, resistant to change, declined their offers outright. But others, struggling under the weight of outdated practices, were intrigued by the Pinnacle's success and welcomed the chance to align with Maya's vision. Maya's strategy was meticulous. She focused on acquiring properties that could be transformed into models of inclusion and innovation. Each new addition to the network was more than a business investment. It was an opportunity to change the narrative of what luxury hospitality could be. In every new property, Maya implemented the same values that had redefined the Pinnacle. She hired diverse leadership teams, partnered with local communities, and created initiatives that prioritized inclusion and opportunity. The transformation wasn't easy, but the results were undeniable. As the network grew, so did its reputation as a trailblazer in the industry. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Maya sat in her office reviewing reports. The progress was significant. Each new property showed improved guest satisfaction, increased revenue, and a more diverse clientele. But Maya wasn't content to stop there. Alicia walked in, holding a tray with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Thought you could use a pick-me-up," she said with a smile. Maya looked up, her expression softening. "Thanks, Alicia. I've been deep in these reports all day." Alicia placed the tray on the desk and sat across from Maya. I was talking to Devin earlier, and we were both saying how far we've come since those early days at the Pinnacle. It's incredible to see this vision turning into something so much bigger. Maya nodded, her mind already racing ahead. "We've accomplished a lot, but there's still so much more to do. We're just scratching the surface." "That's what I love about you," Alicia said with a laugh. "Even after all this, you're still thinking about what's next." Maya smiled. "I can't help it. Every time we achieve something, it just makes me think about how much further we can go." As the network expanded internationally, Maya faced a new set of challenges. Each market brought its own cultural nuances, regulatory hurdles, and societal expectations. But Maya embraced these challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. In one of their newest properties, a historic hotel in Europe, Maya worked closely with local leaders to integrate the hotel into the community. She launched programs to support small businesses, employed local artisans to showcase their crafts within the hotel, and created internship opportunities for underrepresented youth. The results were transformative. Guests appreciated the authenticity and connection to the local culture, and the community began to see the hotel as a partner rather than an outsider. Back at the Pinnacle, Maya hosted an annual summit for the leadership teams of all the properties in the network. The summit was an opportunity to share successes, address challenges, and reinforce their shared mission. Standing on the stage, Maya addressed the crowd of leaders who had become her partners in this journey. "When we started this journey, I knew we were aiming for something ambitious," she began. "We weren't just building a business, we were building a movement to redefine what luxury means, to create spaces where everyone feels valued, and to prove that inclusion isn't just good for people, it's good for business." The room erupted into applause, but Maya wasn't finished. "This isn't the end of our story," she continued. "It's just the beginning. Together, we're going to keep pushing boundaries, breaking barriers, and proving that change is not only possible, it's necessary. And as we grow, I want each of you to remember why we started. To make a difference, one hotel, one guest, one person at a time." By the end of the summit, the leaders left inspired, ready to take Maya's vision even further. The network's reputation continued to grow, attracting attention from investors, media, and other industry leaders. Maya had created more than a collection of hotels. She had built a legacy. Sitting in her office late one night, Maya reflected on how far they had come. The Pinnacle was no longer just a hotel. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when courage met conviction. And for Maya, this was just the beginning. Months after the annual summit, Maya's vision for the Pinnacle network had not only gained momentum, but had also sparked conversations across the entire hospitality industry. Leaders from major hotel chains began reaching out, curious about the secret behind the Pinnacle's transformation and its rapidly growing reputation. Maya, true to her mission, welcomed the dialogue. She saw these inquiries as an opportunity to spread her philosophy even further. One afternoon, while reviewing a proposal from a global hotel conglomerate seeking her advice, she realized that the network's success was reshaping the industry in real time. At the same time, Maya's commitment to her community partnerships deepened. She had always believed that luxury was more than opulence. It was about creating meaningful connections. In each city where a Pinnacle property was established, Maya prioritized engaging with local communities. She funded scholarships, hosted cultural festivals, and provided resources to underserved neighborhoods. These efforts not only elevated the Pinnacle brand, but also solidified its role as a force for good. One of the most impactful programs was the Pinnacle Fellowship, a leadership development initiative designed to mentor young professionals from underrepresented backgrounds. The fellowship offered hands-on experience in hospitality management, mentorship from industry leaders, and a pathway to senior leadership roles. One evening, Maya attended the graduation ceremony for the program's first cohort. Standing on the stage, she watched as the fellows, each with a unique story of perseverance, walked across to receive their certificates. The room was filled with proud families, mentors, and colleagues, all celebrating the fellows' achievements. Maya stepped forward to deliver her remarks, her voice filled with emotion. "To our fellows, tonight is more than just a celebration of your accomplishments. It's a testament to your resilience, your determination, and your potential to lead the future of this industry. You are the reason we started this program. You are the proof that when we invest in people, the possibilities are limitless." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle in the room. "But this is only the beginning of your journey," she continued. "As you step into the next chapter of your careers, I want you to remember that leadership isn't about where you've been. It's about where you're going and how you bring others with you. You have the power to change not just your own path, but to pave the way for those who come after you. And I, for one, Can't wait to see what you will achieve." The room erupted into applause, and Maya felt a deep sense of pride. The fellowship was more than a program, it was a symbol of what the Pinnacle stood for. Meanwhile, Devin had been working tirelessly to expand the Pinnacle network's footprint. With Maya's guidance, he led negotiations for new properties across Asia and Africa, regions rich with cultural heritage, but often overlooked in the luxury hospitality sector. During a meeting in Nairobi, Devin presented Maya with the opportunity to acquire an iconic colonial-era hotel that had fallen into disrepair. The property had a complicated history, once serving as a symbol of exclusion, but now ripe for transformation. "This is exactly the kind of project that aligns with our mission," Devin said, his voice filled with conviction. "It's not just about restoring a building, it's about reclaiming its story and turning it into something that represents progress." Maya agreed. The Nairobi project became one of the network's most ambitious undertakings. Architects, historians, and community leaders were brought in to ensure the hotel's transformation honored its past while embracing a future rooted in inclusion and cultural celebration. As the Pinnacle network continued to grow, so did its influence. Maya began receiving invitations to speak at global conferences on business innovation, diversity, and leadership. Her message resonated far beyond the hospitality industry, inspiring leaders across sectors to rethink their approaches to inclusion and corporate responsibility. At one such conference, Maya shared a stage with some of the world's most influential leaders. When it was her turn to speak, she addressed the audience with the same passion that had driven her since the beginning. Change isn't about tearing down what exists, it's about building something better in its place. It's about recognizing that success is not measured by who you exclude, but by how many lives you touch. The Pinnacle isn't just a business, it's a vision for what's possible when we prioritize people over profits. The audience gave her a standing ovation, and Maya knew that the seeds she had planted were starting to take root in ways she had only dreamed of. Back at the Pinnacle's flagship property, Maya found herself reflecting once more. The journey had been long and challenging, but every step had been worth it. The network had grown from a single transformed hotel to a global movement, yet Maya felt the same fire she'd had on the day she first walked into the Pinnacle and was denied a reservation. Standing at the window of her office, looking out at the city she had helped reshape, Maya smiled. She knew there was still more to do, more stories to rewrite, and more barriers to break. But she also knew she wasn't alone. She had built a team, a network, and a legacy that would outlast her. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to herself, her reflection in the glass a reminder of how far she had come and how far she intended to go. Years passed, and the Pinnacle network became a household name synonymous with transformative luxury. Maya's vision had reshaped not just her properties, but also the broader hospitality industry. Her leadership became a case study in universities, a topic of conversation in boardrooms, and a source of inspiration for marginalized communities around the world. One crisp autumn morning, Maya found herself back at the flagship Pinnacle property, where it all began. The hotel had undergone several renovations under her leadership and now stood as a shining example of everything she had worked to achieve. The lobby buzzed with life. Guests from diverse backgrounds mingled, children laughed, and staff members, each treated with respect and dignity, worked with pride. As Maya walked through the grand lobby, she was greeted by smiles and nods of recognition. She paused for a moment to take it all in. This place, which had once been a symbol of exclusion, was now the heart of a movement that had changed lives. Later that day, Maya held one final meeting in the hotel's conference room. Around the table sat her leadership team, including Alicia, Devin, and other individuals who had become like family. They were there to discuss the future of the Pinnacle network, but Maya had a different agenda. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," Maya began, her voice steady. "And I believe it's time for me to step back from the day-to-day operations of the Pinnacle network." There were audible gasps around the room, followed by a heavy silence. "You're leaving?" Alicia asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Not leaving," Maya clarified with a gentle smile. "I'm transitioning. The Pinnacle network doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people we've served, the lives we've touched, and the leaders who will carry this mission forward." She looked at Devin. "You've proven yourself more than capable of leading this organization. You understand our vision, our values, and what it takes to make this work. I want you to take the reins as CEO." Devin's eyes widened, his voice barely above a whisper. "Maya, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Maya said with a grin. "You're ready, and I trust you." Devin nodded, emotion welling in his eyes. "Yes. I won't let you down." Over the next few months, Maya worked closely with Devin to ensure a smooth transition. She remained a mentor and advisor, but intentionally stepped back from the spotlight. The Pinnacle network continued to thrive under Devin's leadership, expanding into new territories and further embedding its values into the industry. Maya, meanwhile, turned her focus to philanthropy. She launched the Holloway Foundation, an organization dedicated to funding educational opportunities, leadership development, and community programs in underserved areas. Through the foundation, Maya found a new way to give back and continue her mission of empowering others. One evening, years after her transition, Maya returned to the Pinnacle flagship hotel. She was now a guest, something she had not been since the day she was denied a reservation. As she checked in, the receptionist greeted her warmly, completely unaware of who she was. "Welcome to the Pinnacle," the young woman said with a bright smile. "We're honored to have you with us." Maya smiled back, feeling a quiet sense of fulfillment. She walked through the familiar halls, now filled with the energy of inclusivity and warmth. When she entered her suite, she looked out at the city skyline, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. She had broken barriers, redefined an industry, and left a legacy that would continue to inspire long after she was gone. But most importantly, she had proven to herself and the world that the most powerful change begins with a single step forward. Maya sat down in the plush chair by the window, a cup of tea in hand. As the city lights twinkled, she allowed herself a moment of stillness, knowing that the work she had done would ripple across generations. "This is what it means to build a legacy," she whispered to herself, a peaceful smile on her face. And for the first time in her life, Maya Holloway felt she could finally rest, not because the work was done, but because she had built something that would endure. If this video has helped you connect more with yourself and inspired your journey of growth, take action and subscribe to the Lives of Inspiration channel to discover more stories that will fill you with motivation and hope. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment sharing how this story has impacted your life or what reflections it has sparked. And if you believe this message could inspire someone you know, share it with your friends so they too can find inspiration and purpose in their lives.